Hey Gabsters, thank you so much for joining me on the video. I really appreciate you guys coming back and watching the videos again. And let me know what you thought about the video in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and please do subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you are a golden oldie, welcome back. I am loving the new setup. I'm loving the lighting of this. Let me know if you like this setup out of the many setups you've seen on my channel. But yeah, I'm now able to use this window and this lighting because of my bookshelf. I wasn't able to use it before because just, yeah. But yeah, I'm loving it. Let me know what you think. So in Swaziland, we're about to enter sort of like, I will call it the cultural season, where many of the national cultural ceremonies are about to happen. Very soon we're going to have the Umhlanga ceremony, which is usually end of August, early September. So there's going to be the Umhlanga ceremony. I will put the date if it's been released, because every year it's on a different day. I will put the date sort of down here. And then after that, in sort of like late October, November, the king goes into seclusion in preparation for the Ingwala ceremony. So basically the last quarter of the year is really important in Swaziland in terms of sort of our cultural traditional ceremonies. So I got inboxed the other day by a Gabster. I asked her if I could use the questions. She said yes, but then when she didn't respond to my can I use her name, so I'm not sure if I should. But a Gabster sent me an inbox. She's like, I saw your I saw your video on the Umhlanga ceremony from, I think it was last year's Umhlanga ceremony. I will link it above. And she was like, I have a few questions. I'm planning on going there. So I am going to answer those questions on here because I think they'll be very helpful for anyone who wants to travel to Swaziland in the next couple of months for the traditional ceremonies, and also just to give you guys a basic idea of what the country is like should you wish to visit it. If you have any other questions or comments about Swaziland, if you've been to Swaziland, if you're planning on going to Swaziland, put them below. Let's share them, let's discuss them. I'm planning my first trip to Swaziland to see the Reed Dance, and I was hoping you could answer a few questions to help prepare for my trip. And she's like, so the first question, where's the event taking place? I need to know the best place to get accommodation. Where is the event? Where's the main event taking place? The main event taking place at Eswatini, which is the Queen's Royal Residence, and all the traditional ceremonies in Swaziland take place at the Queen's Royal Residence. And the Queen's Royal Residence, Eswatini, is based in Lobamba. The area in which the Queen's Residence is at is Lobamba. And Lobamba is basically sort of like the cultural hub of Swaziland. And then where should she stay? So the best place to stay, and where most people stay basically when they come to Swaziland, is they stay at Eswatini. Eswatini is a valley between the two major cities. The one city is Mbabane, which is the city you'll probably drive through if you drive into Swaziland from South Africa. Or the other city is Manzini, which is the city you'd probably come through first if you are flying into Swaziland. The Eswatini Valley is sort of lies in the middle of both cities, and then from Eswatini to Lobamba, or the Queen's Royal Residence, Eswatini, it's like a few kilometers. It's about 5-10 at the most. I'm not really good at gauging kilometers, but yeah, so that is where most people stay. At Eswatini you have a lot of activities. You have a big sort of like tourist attractions, you have crafts, you have hotels, you have casinos, you've got golf courses, there's hikes you can do, there's many things you can do. There is caves, you can go into caving and things. So it's very much a tourist area catered for tourists, but also a lot of the local residents live in that area. So Eswatini is really lovely, it's a beautiful place, it's gorgeous, and it's basically central to wherever it is that you want to go to around the country, because it's, yeah, as I said, halfway between the two cities. And depending on what it is depending on your budget, you can find anything from like a bed and breakfast all the way to hotels and casinos. So, and villas if you want to hire out a villa, or yeah, so the choices for accommodation there are very wide and basically can cater for everyone. Second question is, I saw the traffic at the end of your video. I'm not sure if I should hire a car or just Uber. I'm sorry about the lighting coming in and out, but I'm using natural lighting. There is no Uber yet in Swaziland. So no Uber. Uber is not an option. In terms of having a centralized taxi service where you have a number you can call and book a taxi, there isn't one. There are local private taxis. Like when I talk about private taxis, I talk about like sort of like people who drive like sedans, who can like taxi you around, but then you'd have to get a taxi, get the person's number and that kind of thing. And I'm sure at most places where you go to or stay at, the concierge or whatever would have a number for somebody that they use to taxi around. So if you don't want to drive, you can definitely taxi it around. If you're staying at one of the hotels, they could have transportation from the airport to the hotel and things like that. But if you want to drive to get around in the country, you'd either use buses or combi taxis, or in this instance I would recommend that she hires a car, because yeah, the transportation service is, although very good during the day, not so great in the evenings. But in the evenings, if you want to go to places and things like that, you would definitely need a car to drive around. It's much easier and it's more practical. Swaziland is very hilly, so if you're not comfortable driving a manual car, then make sure you definitely get an automatic car, because there are lots of hills. There are lots of hills. If your clutch control is not ups, then you are going to suffer. You are going to suffer a lot. There are a couple of roads with a couple of potholes here and there, but generally overall the roads are really good in Swaziland. Third, dress code. I heard terrifying stories about women wearing pants in Swaziland. So generally the dress code in Swaziland is the same as in Joburg. I think that if you live in any African city, you basically understand. We all live by very similar dress codes, which is wear whatever you want to wear in town, and when you go to your grandparents' house, pull yourself towards yourself. So basically that's it. I mean, there is no really big issues about wearing pants, miniskirt. Dress code is very similar if you're a person from Johannesburg. What I will say is that at the royal residence itself, women are not allowed to go in there in pants. And if you are going to be wearing a skirt, try and keep it to the knee. And I mean the knee, not above the knee, to the knee or below. So at the royal residence, they are a lot stricter about what you're wearing and things like that. So no pants at the royal residence, and try to, if you're wearing a skirt, try and keep it from the knee down and not knee above. So yeah, they do sometimes around the traditional ceremony, around the time of the traditional ceremony, usually also this is for the Ingwala ceremony, when they send out Bantu Bemandi. What normally happens is, as they're going through the different towns and whatever, they will be collecting sort of like fines for people who are not dressed properly and things like that. But that's happening during the Ingwala, and that only really applies to applies really more in the rural areas firstly, and secondly is limited to that time period. And really it's usually if you're going to pass by Bantu Benzaba or whatever, but if you're in town it doesn't really apply. And also if you're a foreigner, you wouldn't really be put under the same standards that they would expect a Swazi to. So if you were ever to bump into Bantu Benzaba, Bantu Bemandi, around the sort of like when they're preparing for the Ingwala, and they wanted to fine you for wearing pants, and you're like, but I'm South African, you could they wouldn't necessarily like hold you to it. So yeah. And then fourth, seating at the main event. Do I need to book seats beforehand? Do I need to book seats beforehand? So seating at the main event is you can't really book seats. There's nowhere to call and say, oh, I'm RSVPing for 20 people. No. So you have to get there early enough to sort of like claim your seat. And yeah, the event starts in the late afternoon. So it starts at around 4ish, after 3. It starts after 3 p.m. So you would have to get there earlier on, claim your seat. And then also you are allowed to bring in like food and drinks and things like that to the venue, and so that you can sit and be as comfortable as you want. The event starts, the Umhlanga ceremony starts at around like I said, late afternoon, and it goes on until about 6-7ish. And then yeah, the Ingwala ceremony on the other hand is a bit different. The Ingwala ceremony happens in the kraal, so there aren't any seating venues. You can't actually sit through the Ingwala. Like they say you dance the Ingwala. There's no watching it. There's no anything. You participate or you don't go in. There's no options. You can hang around outside the kraal and things like that. But once you go into the kraal, you are expected to participate. They say that the Ingwala ayibukelwa, which means you do not watch the Ingwala. You participate. Get it. Anyway, those are the questions that she asked me. I hope that the questions were helpful. Anyway, bye Gabsters. I hope you Gabsters found this video helpful in some way. Let me know if you have any other questions about Swaziland, the ceremonies in Swaziland and all of that stuff. Some of you have been asking me to do how I tie the lihia. I don't know if I should wait until I'm at home in Swaziland and get my mom to do it, because I know she can do it better, or if I should just put myself out there and be open to the people trashing me and my skills of how to tie it. I don't know. But let me know, should I do the video anyway, or should I wait for moms? Anyway guys, thank you so much. Bye.